Okay, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a fantastic guest. I can hear an echo there, Gina. So, yeah, just mute yourself for a second. I'm going to do your bio. So we should be live streaming to YouTube. I'm going to check that in a second. I'm just going to get up your fantastic bio. So my guest today is Gina Virginia Casella, and I do have your bio here. And you're thinking, how's she got my bio? One moment. So, so welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. We have. No, that's not you. One moment. Oh my word, I'm so unprepared now. Here we go. So Gina Virginia Casella is a multidimensional intuitive and crystal healer known for her powerful gemstone readings. Using crystals as energetic portals, she channels guidance related to chakra alignment, soul evolution, and spiritual activation. Her mission is to help people reconnect with their true essence and step into their highest timeline through heart-centered awareness and sacred tools. And Gina is the host of the Dragon Dreamers events and the Summer Daze conference that's coming up in June on the 13th, which is a full day online conference. And during that day, we'll be having people doing singing bowls, and Gina will be doing beautiful introductions into her work and her gemstone readings. And we have several speakers throughout the day, including myself, who'll be doing a talk midday. And we're going to be going into it today. So welcome, Gina. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me on your show. And it's such a thrill to be here. It's our Friday. It's finally here, 4 p.m. And I've got notes to help me stay organized.
Okay, that's cool. I'm very random. I'm not organized at all. As you probably figured, on my channel, we get really weird and we get intuitively into like flow and we just love random questions. Wizzy Burkins is saying, I thought it was on her channel. Well, we've been on Gina's channel and then we've come back to my channel because there was a bit of interference on the StreamYard. I was getting a bit of noise interference. So here we are. So hello, everybody. I'm just popping a note in the chat. So yeah, so we're going to be learning a bit more about Gina today and learning more about her conferences. So would you like to give everybody kind of like a summary of how things got started for you? How did you know that you're a magical person, and when did that kind of thing start?
Okay, wow. Ever since my early childhood, I always had interesting dreams. I'm out there in the backyard, hanging out in the grass, chatting with the insects and the flowers. This seemed very natural, very normal to me. I was also raised Roman Catholic, so we were taught to pray and to believe in God and whatnot. Uh, also, born and raised in Canada, celebrating the North American holiday, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy. So I never thought anything of it, right? And when I was a small child, my stories um, were just that. It was cute little stories that I was telling, but really I was telling, my life. And all of a sudden, when I was in grade 2 at age 7, two angels came out of my wall and it scared the crap out of me. It was totally not one of those experiences where you might hear people falling to their knees and, oh, thank you, holy angel. For it scared the shit out of me. Okay. I didn't actually shit that. I got right up out of bed with my eyes bugged open, and it traumatized me. And I didn't realize that. So my hearing and vision flip flopped. And this didn't help my storytelling. So nobody ever called me a liar, but what else are people calling me when they don't believe my stories, right? And so I started to feel shut down. And as I said, this experience, it genuinely traumatized me. And I actually ended up in the special education classroom because that's how much of a disconnect it caused. So my world didn't make sense to me anymore because things are not supposed to be coming out of the wall. And when I wasn't making sense to my world anymore, that was really scary. And so I learned pretty quick not to talk about it. When I was in grade 8, I started to talk about it again. I went to a Catholic school. I felt a level of comfort with this girl in my class. We were talking about angels and miracles. But again, I learned pretty quickly not to talk about it. I was made fun of and stuff like that. So life goes on, and I keep having these spiritual experiences, and I just keep them to myself. And when I was 39, 40 years old, I had a severe panic attack, and I faced the stigmas of mental health. It was really challenging for me uh, to go on leave with pay, and I had to fight for my insurance money. And it was a very sad, long story. And it triggered me right back to when I was in grade 2, 7 years old, when nobody believed me. I mean, I'm not the sick type. So, and I mean, respectfully, a severe panic attack, it was severe. So, even my voice, it's still a bit of a struggle. Those of you who know me, I've always had a very big, powerful voice. Like, when you're giving a speech when you're a kid, and some of the kids in the class talk like this, like not me. I always had a big, loud, booming voice in the gym. I don't need a microphone. And you know what? When I was a teacher, I'm outside there on the field with the students. But now I would actually need a microphone. So my voice chakra is something, it is getting better. And my whole body, mind, spirit is getting better. But it's something that I still struggle with, is my voice. And it's only the last handful of years that I can talk about this angel experience without crying, without my teeth chattering, not because I'm cold, but because it's the truth. And same with goosebumps. I kind of feel like I'm cold, and that only adds to the confusion because I'm not cold. But then it's like, why do I have these goosebumps? And it's because for me, truth is at hand. So how you think and feel is very important. I my teaching career, I had a phenomenal career. I was a union advocate. I facilitated for the British Columbia Teachers Federation. Nothing but positive, amazing, phenomenal things to say. But it did end on a very sour note because just all of the societal political issues, stigmas of mental health. And so I basically was facing homelessness. So it's really worth sharing that because I'm even still processing it, to be honest. So the brain fog, the lack of being able to communicate properly and to advocate for myself completely failed, which only shook me down even more. So my sister, who lives in Ontario, and the rest of my family, because I was living in BC in Western Canada, paid for my airfare to come and live with her. And then I was living with my parents, staying in a room. So I did not have a criminal record check. It's not because I didn't get caught or something like that. This was a reality that unfolded for a public school teacher who was the involved type, whose health took a hit, who faced the stigmas of mental health. And now when I'm trying to find a job, it's really challenging, probably because I share my story medicine. And I just had to say to myself, that's my old matrix. It was like it completely ripped my heart into a million pieces, but it was actually the best thing ever because that severe panic attack was the inner dragon, the age 7 Gina in particular, literally the spirit sitting down on my chest. And so even like, when you're lying down on your back, I feel like someone's sitting on my chest. It's like super, super better now. But even when I was standing up erect, I still felt that because a part of me was going on strike and saying, we're not doing this matrix anymore. And every time I thought I was getting better to go back to work, all the symptoms would just flood in: brain fog, the warping feeling of my bones, because there was an inner resistance, because that matrix was fear-based, it was scarcity-based. I was totally caught up in the triangle of disempowerment. How could that even be possible? So it worked out. It really pushed me out of that eagle's nest. It was not in right relationship with me anymore. So my new matrix, I do energy medicine, hypnotherapy. And to be honest and direct, I took those for myself personally because I was at my wit's end. I thought, I'm losing my mind. I need to become a hypnotherapist so I can learn firsthand the training and understand the rules of the mind, which really empowered me. I was trained by one of the best, Marissa Peer, rapid transformational therapy, hypnotherapy. We don't spend time in regression scenes. We get in, we get out, we reprogram the mind. It's really powerful. And then I also became an energy medicine practitioner, which I wasn't planning on becoming. I just wanted to get in on it for the knowledge that, hey, you know what? Might as well submit the case studies and get that extra mile, right? So, huge fan of Alberto Villoldo from the Four Winds and his wife Marcella. And so I'm tuning in to his webinar, and they're talking about spiritual experiences, and everybody's telling these beautiful stories about Jaguar and the Rainbow Bridge. Well, actually have terrifying dreams about Jaguar. And you know what? I get a very strong impression that Jaguar is not trying to scare me. That's how big and powerful Jaguar is. And so I mustered up the courage to participate, and I ended up bawling my eyes out live on his webinar because it was the first time I was really connecting with people who got me. And this was like the Four Winds community. So just like the whole Jaguar language, I didn't know any different that Jaguar was like one of the main power animals, but they all did. So when I was telling my story, they're all just like, yeah, but I'm like, and then this happened and then that. And you know what? This is all about responding to the call. And this is very typical, actually, just like a cat, any kind of cat behavior. You get the spooks, you run up the tree. And that's what happened to me. So all that's washed over now. It's a lot better. After I had the severe panic attack, I've always had interesting dreams, but they escalated. Everything about me escalated. And the Gnome King in particular, I tell this story a lot. So if I already told you, just let me know. But those of you who might not be aware of it, the
We
short of the long,
we
very
love this
long.
story. We love it.
Do you?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good,
yeah.
because
We love
I
the
love to
story.
tell it. So I'm learning about goddesses and the Irish Celtic culture, and I'm Italian, French, Canadian, right? So what the hell am I doing learning about goddesses and Italian? But I resonated with Irish, right? And this girl, she goes by Tara Brading, who was known as Tara Wild at the time. I checked in with her because I said, I'm really drawn to your roundhouse, but I don't identify as Irish Celtic. And she was specifically targeting Irish Celtic folks, women in particular. And she insisted that it was for everybody, that it was intended for Irish Celtic, but like that was going to be the focus. Irish Celtic goddesses, not other, Greek goddesses. So as long as I was okay with that, I was more than welcome to attend. And if anybody is masculine but identifies as female, they're also welcome to join the Roundhouse, Tara Brading's Roundhouse. So I actually was in there for 2 years. The first year, the brain fog was that bad. I stayed with her for another year. And then I eventually moved on because I felt like I needed to now apply those lessons. But anyways, she introduced me to the goddess Bridget, the warrior goddess, um, Sheila Nagig, all these sexual metaphors and whatnot that really made sense to me. And all of my interesting dreams, it seemed like Tara Brading's lessons were helping to fill in those gaps.
Do you
And
want
one of those
to talk a
gaps,
little bit
oh,
about
go
Sheila
ahead.
McGee? Because not many people know about
Sure.
Sheila McGee. Yeah.
Okay. So Sheila Nagig, way back in the day, was evil devil woman. Why? Because she's the beautiful goddess who represents sexuality, goddess of the clitoris, goddess of the vagina. So everybody starts thinking dirty thoughts, right? But it's like if you want to have a child, people pray to Sheila Nagig, women's sexuality, the whole patriarchy that went down. That was part of like taking down Sheila Nagig. And Sheila Nagig is a sovereignty goddess as well. So when it comes to the king, working with metaphors and whatnot, the king is married in a spiritual way, if you will, to the goddesses, because there's multiple goddesses of sovereignty. And basically, if the king takes care of the people and the land and has respect and the goddess of sovereignty, then the goddess of sovereignty will bear fruit and whatnot for the people. But after the patriarchy situation, basically, goddesses were raped and this behavior was deemed okay. That's when the goddesses went and hid in the wells. So I'm really not doing justice to the goddesses right now, but that is a very um, treading the water gist of the situation. So when it comes to sexuality and feminine expression, out of all of the goddesses, Sheila Nagig is that one that's representing. And again, because of women getting raped and pregnant and the dirty sluttiness, the ridiculousness that goes with that, Sheila Nagig was a constant presence for a lot of women who provided hope and reassuring that no, you're not a slut, and this is how the body works. And also very exciting too, being excited about sex and sexuality. You don't have to feel shame or anything like that. So Sheila Nagig, this is actually Sheila Nagig season right now. Next month is stepping into that, the themes of sexuality. And talking about your menstrual blood, which is actually part of the Dragon Dreams Oracle, I stamp each card with my bloody tampon in honor of my menstrual blood, because who knows how long I'm going to continue to bleed. And it's something that I always hated my whole life. And after spending time with Tara Brading and the Roundhouse, talking about Sheila Nagig and such themes, I really came to appreciate this sacred blood and the sacred juices in the body, because our body is the land, no different. Like my menstrual blood, the rest of the blood in my body, just different kinds of rivers and streams and oceans, no different to this planet.
I'm
So
in the crone phase now, even though my son's only 16. I've definitely moved into crone because I'm 50 years old, and but I can appreciate where you're coming from, because I too was working in corporate when I felt that call. And even though I was in a male dominated industry, I'm from a construction background, yeah, so I traveled for a long time. But then when I came back to the UK, I moved into construction because my sister was part owner of a construction company. So I moved into health, safety, security, that kind of work. And I was the only female surrounded by like 60 men. And they, my peers were great, supporting the fact that they knew I was magical and it was a bit of a joke. Then that joke would turn into banter, and then that banter became a mental health issue. And the owner of the company even said to me, "We really think that you should go on HRT." Right? We think that you're in the menopause and you should take medicines, is what they said to me. And I was like, no, that's not what I'm going to be doing, because I'm on a spiritual pathway and I'm going to ride it out, basically. And I did, I rode it out, but it was like I was claiming myself as a spiritual business entrepreneur and trying to set that up at the same time as being in the corporate construction male dominated industry. And I can hold my own. I am very masculine and I don't apologize for that. I am. And but it became to the point where I just couldn't function in the real world anymore. And one of my colleagues said to me, "Who are you? Because you can't even do the things, the basic things that you used to be able to do." Because I've always been kind of overpowered mentally and I can do things very rapidly. But I'd look at the same data. I'm an analyst. I'd look at the data and I didn't know what to do with it. That part of my life was over, right? And there's nothing I could do about it. So it took me a slow shift out. And me needing a foot surgery was kind of my way out, really. I thought, you know what, I'm done. I am done. There was a particular catalyst moment and everything, but I took that whole of last year out to just work on my spiritual business, and I feel so happy now. And I'm moving into the crone phase, not having that going on in my body. I'm really powerful now. Yeah, it really is. It kicks in and it's amazing when that happens. So shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got 12 people watching, which is great. We will start taking questions in a bit, and so thank you so much, guys. Yeah, please continue, Gina. It's great.
yeah, and I wanted to thank you for sharing that, because I forgot about that. Like part of the mental health stigmas that I faced was I was totally brushed off, because I'm 44 now, which is supposed to be a lucky age, which I'm feeling the luck because there's a lot of shifts, going on for me right now, positive ones, thankfully. But I got a lot of that too. Oh, your body is sensitive? That's just you having early menopause. No, that's just you, that you can go and fuck yourself. And don't ever tell me that kind of stuff again. Like, I'm not the sick type. So excuse me for not healing fast enough for somebody else's agenda. And excuse me for not being able to communicate my illness because I'm not supposed to have a vocabulary for it. You, the professionals, are supposed to. And so it was a lawsuit basically that was unfolding. And I had to say to myself, do I want to spend the next 5 to 7+ years dealing with this shit? Or do I want to say, you know what? This is the poof state. This is eagle condor medicine, which sounds like, I mean, it is a beautiful thing, but there's really like a lot of darkness to get to that light. And the poof state, um, it's just like the bathtub undraining, and your whole life is, like you said, it's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. And this is the whole dark night of the soul. And this is what I call the confused warrior, because it doesn't make any sense. The confused warrior only knows to coil out, to keep going forward. It's very confusing. Stay small to stay safe. What? Don't rock the boat. Are you kidding me? I was a union advocate. That's all I did was rock the boat. But the confused warrior learns that you actually need to stay small to stay safe. And there are times where you're not supposed to rock the boat because you'll end up being persecuted or losing your job and whatnot. So you become the wisdom keeper. So you just keep it quiet, work on yourself, empowerment, and when it's safe, then you can share your story medicine and become the medicine bearer. So that's where I'm at in my life. I host the show Story Species Story Medicine, and it's targeted for people who have these exact stories, supernatural experiences. Maybe you've seen the Virgin Mary, maybe you're channeling the Pleiadians, whoever. It's all natural, normal to me. And there's nothing strange about high strangeness other than the fact that we think it's strange. One of the rules of the mind, if it's not familiar, then it's perceived as dangerous. So let's make it familiar. Let's make it safe, because this is very normal. The paranormal is very normal, and the supernatural is very natural. So yeah, I quite delight in having these conversations and connections, and always looking to be in right relationship. And it's really scary because people unfriend you, you get blocked from Facebook. That's been happening to me a lot. And I've even had people tell me, like my own circle of friends that I don't even really connect with anymore. They've told me, I love you, I support you, that I'm never going to subscribe to your YouTube. I'm never going to like anything or share a comment, because that might give me problems with my employer and I have kids to feed. And it's like, wow.
That's BS,
Wow,
isn't it? That's not right. I mean, I've got two sisters. One is super like me, like she considers herself to be like my soulmate. So she's into all the things I'm into, and for years she was like, "Teach me," and I was like, "I just can't. I'm not there yet." But I am now. I'm in that teacher phase now. And my other sister, Pauline, is super religious. She's a Bible scholar. She studied that Bible for 40 years, so she appreciates the work I do. But she doesn't obviously need to involve herself in it, and that's okay. We're just on very different pathways. We did connect over Tai Chi. We both started Tai Chi studies together, and now she's a Tai Chi teacher. And she, and that's great. That's how she expresses herself spiritually. But whenever I start to talk about the work that I do, she'll respond with one of her Bible stories, and she'll get super animated about it. And there's nothing I can say because I talk, all this stuff every day. So I just listen, and she listens to me, and that's it. And we're on an even, keel about it, and it's fine. But yeah, not everyone is going to relate to what we're talking about. And friends come and go. They come in for a season or a reason, and then they're gone. And, and it's the same even in our spiritual communities, isn't it? Never mind regular muggle friends. I don't have any muggle friends at all. I don't think there's any that would, and so I'm supposed to be getting a job soon as well, like trying to get back into corporate, back into like literally like never mind. Anyway, so like really strict government work basically. And I was on a course, a 5 or 6 week course, or longer than that. And I thought, I'm just gonna turn up as Julia. I'm not gonna wear any jewelry or anything. It's gonna be hidden away. They're not gonna see my tattoos. I'm really gonna pretend that I'm a regular person. But what I found was people gravitated towards me with questions anyway. Some random guy started to talk to me about a poltergeist in his house. Somebody asked me about gin. Someone asked me about tarot. And I'm like, these guys have no idea who I am. But they're bringing, and these were men. I was like one of 3 females on this course I was on. And they still came in. And the last day I said, look, this is who I am. If you want to check me out, you can do that. But it was weird how they still knew that was part of me and they still brought those questions forward. So yeah, we've got some interesting things going on in the chat here. But yeah, tell us more about your story. We like hearing about the power animals as well, because I know you're a shamanic
For
practitioner.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just make a note, power animals, so I don't forget about that. You see, the thing with Julia and I is we slip into timelessness. So it's like it could very well 5-10 hours can go by here. But okay, so yeah, so I appreciate you saying that because yeah, the circles are changing and you know, I totally get that as well. And it's okay to have a difference of views and opinions, absolutely. But it's but I get that too. People who don't even know me, it's been happening my whole life, standing at the bus stop, minding my own business as per usual. Complete strangers come up to me and ask me questions, or they just tell me things. Like, I don't know if I've got some truth telling serum oozing out of my body, but I'm more open to that now. Like, now I'm like, yeah, you want to tell me a story? Right here. Now I want to hear it. And now people are like, I don't know if I want to tell my story. It's like this. After the show on Tuesdays, folks, okay? So the Gnome King. The Gnome King, he's always been in my life, but I didn't know because I'm too freaked out, especially after the angel experience. So after that experience, it's like, please God, just meditations or in my head, okay? So the spirit guides seem to be honoring that. And those 2 angels, by the way, um, I don't know what they were. They could have been ETs or some kind of hybrid of technology, but they definitely were not angels in the traditional sense. And why did I think that? Because your mind's number one job is to protect you. So when I was 7 years old, immediately, and when they came out of the wall, they had very plain neutral faces. But by the time they made their way down and across my bed, they looked like me and my sister. Like I thought, oh, those are aunties or ancestors or maybe a future version. So they somehow shape shifted, and I got an impression that they weren't even supposed to be there. So it's just very confusing. But anyways, the Gnome King. So I went to special education in grade 2 because of the disconnect that it caused. I was like super spaced out after that. And I ended up graduating with an honors degree in English literature, ironically, and became a public school teacher, graduating with a 2nd degree in education. So this is like very huge news for the age 7 Gina, and it came with a lot of work. So life goes on, and after I had the severe panic attack, like I said, everything escalated, including the Gnome King. So there's this guy by this oak tree that's always kind of scratching his head and he's tossing around sticks and stones. And he knows to leave me alone. If I want to engage, I will, but he seems to know this protocol. And at that time, Tara Braiding, the group that I was in with the Roundhouse, she was talking about ancient language and literally ones and zeros and binary codes. And I'm like, she's talking about my dreams. And part of my dream life with the Gnome King, because eventually I went and engaged with him. And he was really empowering. Like he was like, here, you figure out what this means. And I'm like, I don't know what this means. Like, I'm the kid who went to the special education classroom. Even though I have all this schooling and success, there's still a part of me that feels like there's something wrong with me because going to the special education classroom only reinforced that something was wrong with me when there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. But anyways, in the dream, he basically was teaching me about binary codes and showing me gemstones and essentially how stories are medicine. And I saw a psychic for the first time a few years ago now, handful of years ago. And she said something that was going to be my future and my new matrix. And I was really intimidated by that because I thought, okay, well, I was a teacher, so I can understand like the story piece, but like medicine? Like that sounds like too doctor sounding. I'm intimidated. I don't have a science background. Learning other languages. I'm honestly, I think it's interesting, but I just felt very intimidated. And there was like an emphasis on plant medicine and stone people medicine. And so anyways, my little dream life continues on with the Gnome King. And I say to him, I'm like, oh, and by the way, my dream life and my waking life, they start bridging now. So when I'm not dreaming, I think about the Gnome King and stuff like that. And there's like synchronicities that happen. So this is where things get interesting. So I say to the Gnome King, because now I'm like lucid dreaming it out. And I'm like, okay, can you give me a rock or a stick in my waking life? Then I can go for a walk and find it and meditate. And he says, yes, okay. So life goes on and I completely forget about it. Well, that summer at the beach, I'm minding my own business and I just got there really, and I'm settling down, and all of a sudden, I just feel like compelled, like I got to start digging in the soil. So I start digging in the sand, and I find these gemstones, and I start feeling nervous and this big like rush of energy because I can feel the Gnome King, and it was like this was meant to be. These are the gem stones, and thinking about like the story medicine. Like I left the beach really fast, and I always, when I tell this story, I always have a little laugh because like I was just like digging, being inquisitive. But then I like packed up my stuff and got the hell out of there because I just I felt like I was drawing attention to myself. And I went home and I didn't know what to do with the gemstones. I never heard of gemstone readings before. I fell down the rabbit hole just YouTubing people who read tea leaves and stuff like that. And this one girl, she read mussel shells, and she actually got really sick because she was handling the mussels like for decades, and the mercury from the mussels were poisoning her. And she ended up facing the stigmas of mental health in her community. And then somebody made the connection. It was the mussels. So now she uses gloves, and she was able to heal from that. And it taught me a lesson. I actually took a course, one of Sarah Thomas's courses, about dragon medicine, stone medicine, because I was going in that direction. So you see, there was synchronicity. I needed to watch that show about that girl with the muscles because my gemstones, I thought, well, maybe I'll plop the gemstone in water and then I'll drink the water. Well, that's not safe to do if you don't know what you're doing. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I was feeling a feeling in my body like I had a mineral overdose or something like that. So life goes on, and I feel compelled to bury the gemstones in the soil like they needed to sleep. So through the darkness of the soil and the darkness of my dreams, now I'm dreaming about the gemstones. And one by one, they're presenting to me like this one's going to represent jaguar, and this one's going to represent eagle condor. And um, I'm like, okay, but I don't know what to do with you gemstones. And so I just started eventually tossing them around, and I would be hanging out with people like Tara Brading's Roundhouse community. And I would just feel compelled to toss the gemstones to see what they would say. And every morning I would dream journal. That was the thing too. And then I would build a language with the gemstones, and I did it for myself. But then people would start asking me, like, throw your gemstones around. What is it saying? And it made me uncomfortable when people would say to me, like, you have some kind of stone medicine or animal medicine and story medicine. And then the psychic that I saw online, she really didn't say much, but reinforcing this business of story medicine. And she said, in the image that she saw of me, I was wearing blue feathered earrings. And I didn't make the connection, but if you notice my dream scarf, it's not feathered, but it's tethered. It's all like ripped apart and old. So she probably saw, this image and thought it was earrings. So this is like super powerful to me. So that's where dreaming with gemstone Gina comes from. And that's why I'm always like the Gnome King's gemstones, because I do believe that Like it was not a coincidence. Like I literally with my towel at the beach and the gemstones are right there buried in the sand. Come on, like how did I know that? Right. And I've added more gemstones since. And the way things end are the way things begin. So when I did my shamanic training, the way it ended was talking about the oracle, the stone people and the plant people. And I'm like, oh my God, this is, so they offer advanced master's training, which I'm going to be taking in the fall because I need to belong to that community. They meet regularly. I meet regularly with them anyways for the full moon and new moon, but
So
you get in on
we're moving into the new
like-minded
moon.
people.
Yeah. So tell everybody what kind of things you do around the new moon, because I know that's where we are
Yeah.
right now. Because you reminded me. Yeah.
Yep. So I follow the new moon, full moon cycle. I find it really beneficial because the moon, as you know, it doesn't actually grow or shrink. It just seems that way. And there is no moonlight. It's the sun's light shining from the moon. But sometimes I forget that, and I like to work with those metaphors and I like forgetting because I like to just go wild with my thoughts because I have to remind myself that all my thinking is in a box, whether I want it to be or not. And the only way to really think outside the box is to get really, really radical. So, so yeah, working with metaphors when the moon is waning, when it's shrinking, that means the darkness is coming in. And I associate that with like the tarot card where the tower is falling, snake shedding skin, loosening and letting go. By the time it's the new moon, it's completely black. That's simultaneous womb and tomb themes. So if you want to plant seeds, keys, dreams, whatever metaphors you're working with, if you want to it on an energetic spiritual level, maybe something needs to die and you want that, maybe you had a dream and it's not working out for you anymore. You're allowed to change your mind. You can bury that. You can do what you need to do. And then when the new moon is over and the moon starts waxing, starts growing again, that's when I intentionally really focus on my goals. And I tend to have too much on the go. So the mind can only focus on one thing. Basically, there's 12, well, there's 13 months in the year, but we celebrate 12. So pick 12 things to focus on every year is my advice. And it's okay to have repeat carryover themes. And I associate each month with different goddesses. And so I have a special connection. And this practice helps me stay in alignment with my own goals and just my own alchemy and reflection. I need to reflect. I'm a very reflective person.
Hmm.
And so,
Who's the goddess that
yeah.
we're working with now?
Right now, I'm still working with the goddess Bridget. The
Hmm.
energy is high, the end of
Yeah.
February. Then it's the warrior goddess, Skyha. And so this is like reflective of the seasons because, well, at least in places like Canada, our spring is very messy. Like today it's 15, tomorrow it's -2. So this
Yeah.
is like warrior themes, unpredictability, trying to plan. This is why Promise of Spring, the last conference was called Promise of Spring, because the winter can be so hard. And then finally, the promise of spring is really the promise of the summer. So the next goddess right now, like the warrior goddess is fading out. And then Sheila Nagig, goddess of the land, goddess of sexuality, those themes come in um, because the seasonal cycles that are associated with the goddesses.
Hmm.
And so, yeah. And I mean, there's always the season in my mind too, right?
Hmm.
So even though I might supposed to be listening to my May meditation music, I might listen to different months because I want to honor the thoughts and cycles that are going on because I realize that multidimensional reality, like on this planet Earth, it might be this temperature, this time, sidereal time, star time, but somewhere else in the galaxy where there's a part of me I might be tapping into something else. So I tend to be all over the place, and having a structure really helps the biological one known as Gina. Yeah, and going back to the masculine, one of my main spirit guides is Polaris, and he's a hardcore military type masculine guy. He's typically presented in animal form, a big white ram of a bull, big black baby doe eyes with purple horns. And that's what was freaky about my gemstones. There's two purple gemstones that are like, they look like horns. And I was like, oh my God, like it hit me. I was like, this is Polaris. And we're buddied up, Polaris and I, because I don't know how to say it, a descendant. Like um, I he's me, but he's older. I'm later on in the Gina food, not food. I don't know why I'm saying food, but I was thinking about food chains earlier. Jason H and I are working on a movie together. Um, but he's too masculine. That's his problem. He's too masculine, straight up, and he can be a bit of a dick. And you know
Hold
what?
on, who are we talking
He doesn't
about?
mean to be a dick, but he has very strong leadership skills,
Who
and
are
being
we
a
talking
dick
about? Our
makes him a
Jason?
good leader. It's a high quality item. So
Oh,
he's transformed that into being assertive. So when I talk about dickism, that lesson comes from Polaris.
who's being a dick?
And so
Is that Polaris is being a dick? I thought you were talking about our Jason
Polaris.
then. Okay, I was going to say Jason's not a dick. He's
Oh,
fine.
not Jason, not Jason, Polaris, Polaris,
Okay,
Polaris.
Polaris. Yeah, just clarifying
Yeah,
that. Okay. Because
yeah,
our Jason's one of the
yeah.
nicest, most balanced people in that way. I find him very supportive, you see. Yeah.
There might have been a bit of an overlap. So,
Yeah, okay,
yeah, to
sorry.
clarify, Jason and I are making movies together. So that when I commented about Jason, I was commenting about that. Um, so me in my life, I am also way too masculine. Like I'm attracted to men. I identify as female, but the survival based thing, right? I started working at age 15. I've had boyfriends. I've been in long-term relationships, but the traditional role of being the protector provider, I have a really hard time receiving. It's like I can't relax. I have to be my own protector provider. And there's nothing wrong with a female being a protective provider, right? But when these traditional roles, if you can appreciate them on a spiritual level. So Polaris is buddied up with me because I made it a point to join a feminine expression class so I could get my sexy on and learn some sexy dance moves. So on my Facebook, you can find videos. And it was a really amazing, extraordinary time,
Hold
shaking
on.
it, letting my butt jiggle.
On your
And
Facebook, there's videos of you doing like shamanic movement, somatic movement, dancing on your Facebook.
yeah, there's all kinds of things on my Facebook, and I'd really like to join a dance class again. And
Mm,
actually, Laura Ferguson, Starseed Lolo,
mm.
she created a song called The Dragon, which I have permission to use. And I told her, I said, I'm going to make up a dance for that this summer. I don't have time right now, but I'm going to make up a little sexy dance for that. And who knows, maybe I'll break it down and it could be like a special Dragon Dreams dance or something like that. She has a lot of fun dancey music too that you can find on YouTube and Spotify. So yeah, so feminine expression is very important. And it's funny because like Polaris, he doesn't care about the sexy dancing. It's the other stuff that comes with the feminine, and just understanding better. And in my past lives, I'm very dominantly masculine. And a psychic, Eric Council of Nine, told me that this is my third time being female. And apparently, the first two times it was just like a shit show because I was female. So this is like my first time
I don't
really,
I don't feel
you
female.
know.
I really don't feel female. I know I'm not even sure what female's meant to feel like, to be honest. I'm probably more non-binary to be, because I remember what it feels like to be a man from the programs, and I know there's other versions of me in the programs that are female that I can connect into. But me, I feel neutral. I don't know. It's weird, right? I guess I'm just at that point now where I can admit that. Yeah, I'm not even sure.
Admitting it is the first step, and having
Yeah,
the humility to admit that you don't even know is
yeah.
pretty big time,
Yeah.
and
So when you talk about the
so
body that is
yeah.
Gina, who is the being that is Gina? So do you have a name for your higher
Mm.
self aspects or other versions of you? So who's the being?
That's a good question. So there's the biological one known as Gina. That's like the raw zombie blood and bones right now that you see. And then on a spiritual level, I'm broken up. Um, so I learned that I'm not fragmented. I'm multidimensional. So I used to think I was broken up, but this multidimensional is to be thought of not broken, but stretched out and kind of like a very long distance telephone call away.
So I call
So it,
that multi-positioned in a way because there's other versions of me that are on different timelines, but we're all kind of anchoring each timeline. So like Angelique is a multi-positioned version of me. She's still me, but she's not me. But we're still one, but we're slightly separate, multi-positioned. Yeah, so I get that.
yeah, so my spirit guides, like all the folks in my gemstone readings that I mentioned, like the Wise and Well Whale and Orca elders, Polaris, Manus, the goddesses, they've taken on their own version of Gina. And age 4 Gina, age 7 Gina, age 14 Gina. We're like the only females. There is one dimension where there's tons of Ginas. They're all married, they all have kids, they all live a beautiful life, and they're wondering what the hell is going on in this life. And it gets kind of funny in book 5 um, because my husband's, um, they're like, well, what's going on? We should help her out, right? But they don't understand things like money in this dimension. So there's a hilarious scene where the female Ginas, they're trying to e-transfer me money and they don't know how, they don't know what they're doing. And then like the husbands walk in on them and it's almost like having an affair. It's like very upsetting because it's not their role, it's the husband's role. And they actually had to like go through counseling and everything. So heartfelt stories and just like funny ones like that. But then there's a lot of serious ones that make me very uncomfortable. There's stories in here about like, you know, when Moses breaks the water and just elementals and like the Egyptians. And to be honest, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So I really pride myself on being the village idiot. I felt very uncomfortable about that. But now I love it. I resonate in it because I don't know what I'm talking about, but other people do. And that's how we connect. That's where we find this medicine. And it's really extraordinary and powerful. Like when I was publishing my books, I would talk to the AI rewriter and I'd be like, okay, this is what's going on. And then it would like rewrite it and try and explain it to me. And I picked up vocabulary words, spaghettification. Oh, okay, this helps me understand like the stretching out business. Okay, still don't really get it, but trying to get it, trying to be trying. And then consciousness transfer came up, and that made me feel uncomfortable. And this idea of uh, multidimensionalness. Like I didn't realize I was talking about things until the AI rewriter was giving me a vocabulary to use, and that made me uncomfortable. And this business of like when you die, going to the light, is that such a good idea? You know, because we come from the darkness, so shouldn't we go to the darkness? But I understand the metaphor of going to the light. Even in my shamanic training, I would tell you go to the light, you know,
Yeah.
but it does get you thinking. And in the life between lives, I have a life. My life is to connect with everybody and help you with your contract. So I'm there in the life between lives, and I work with you. And it's just like a little starting place. Nothing is set in stone. It's just to get you started. So okay, off you go, and when you die, I'll see you back here. Well, in my dream life, people come back and they're pretty beaten up. And a lot of them are coming back as criminals and stuff like that. And this whole triangle of disempowerment. And so I investigate and I actually go to all these other planets. And so I'm um, intimidating to a lot of people because that's why they don't want me to know what's going on. And it's not a secret, but they don't know where it's kind of like you know, when they have secret shoppers to make sure the customer service is like, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I'm seeing it for myself, and I'm seeing and hearing a lot. And this business of secret space programs, the more I listen to it, I feel like I predate that in my dream life, if you want to call it that, because I have a very close connection with the air and the water, the wind and the water. Those are like my parents, if you will. And so I have a history of being at peace, total harmony. There was confusion. Am I the tree? Am I the roots? Am I the water? Am I the adhesion? Well, I'm everything. And it was just this very beautiful ecosystem I was a part of. If I wasn't doing that, then I was deep in the earth. I was mostly water, but I transformed into gold and other gemstones and precious metals. I became the dragon. But at one point in one dream life, I was mind. So people used me to make their spaceships and stuff like that, and nails, and made robots. So I became a robot, and the scientists used to masturbate with me. And I was not
Oh
sentient,
my
so whatever. I didn't have any,
God.
I was just
Hold
an
on.
object,
Hold on.
respectfully. Yeah.
Hold on a
Telling
second.
it like it is.
Hold on.
Okay.
So you were a robot. So where was this?
This takes place on a ship, and
Okay.
this ship is full of a bunch of misfits. The good guy and the bad guy, they're at their wits' end, so they're working together.
Do you know
And
what race they are? What starseed lineage? Nothing. Okay.
no,
What
no.
color were
And I'm
they?
open.
What color were they?
They present as invisible.
Ah, okay,
I
okay.
can't, like, I not seeing is seeing. And
Yeah.
and when I do see, it's like it ranges tall,
Mm.
skinny. They have
Yeah.
bulbous heads. I'm actually in search of a hypnotherapist that is willing to take me to that deep dive.
Yeah.
But I want to find the right person, and I'm
Yeah, for
very
sure.
open to going there and
Yeah.
interested to see what comes
So
up.
when we you
Oh
think
yeah,
about yourself as a robot, as a synthetic
yeah.
being or whatever it was, do you feel like you look humanoid?
Uh, Um,
Was it
yes and no.
metal?
So on the outside, they made me look human. They
Right.
made me very pretty, and that's why they masturbated with me.
Yeah.
And they don't know that each other is masturbating with me. So I know them on a very intimate level. Like I
Right.
know the inside of their teeth because my tongue has been in their mouth and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah. So
So,
so I'm
okay.
intimidating because I know everything.
So what was your
Like I
original
don't remember anything.
function? Yeah, what's your original function on the ship? What are you meant to be doing?
Okay, so I was meant to be like a Terminator, basically.
Right.
I was supposed to be um, whatever they needed me to do,
Mm.
I was to do.
Yeah.
Mostly hold people down so they could inject, and I would help to kidnap people. But
Right.
they programmed me to believe that I was being righteous and just, and they would play me videos about like this world, so it all
Yeah.
made sense. Of like, like an animal stuck in a fence or something, and you
Yeah.
try to help, but they're scared. Like that's how they made me feel when I was
Okay.
holding people down. Like, no, this is for the best. But I
Okay.
became sentient and I
So,
started making connections.
yeah. So you actually had
Yeah.
feelings, even though you were like some synthetic bot or whatever, you had feelings.
I
Okay.
developed
That's
feelings.
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so resources also started to become scarce.
Mm.
So they, reduce, reuse, recycle. We're melting pieces and whatnot. And Lindsay was the name of the company.
Right.
So there's Lindsay tags all over, like name brand, right? And
Mm.
somebody took a Lindsay tag and put it on me. So my robot name is Lindsay because they were melting all the pieces that they could to reuse. And they're like, let's keep this name Lindsay. And so it's my
Mm.
nickname. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at
Okay.
some point,
That's
I
fascinating.
was like, yeah, at some point I'm like, this isn't cool anymore.
Mm.
There's one man I haven't published this yet, but this is going to be like in book 9, assuming more downloads don't come. I still have a box of dream journals to publish here. Um, But yeah, this is exciting to talk about this because I haven't talked about this yet, really. But yeah, so I'm this robot and I start making these connections and I start challenging the ethics. And this one man who's human, they want me to hold him down so that they can experiment on him. And he advocates and he says stuff like, how would you like it? And I'm like, what? Because I never even thought about that. And I get excited and I'm like, yeah, like, how would you like it? And the scientists fucking are so scared because I literally, like, they wear these white lab coats and I take it off and I put it on the man instead. And I'm really excited. Like, now you have the power. Um, so even though I'm very intelligent, like a robot, there's this part of me that like is really failing here, these gaps. And then all the people on the ship and the ETs are all scared of me now because the people are realizing in a positive way that they don't need to be scared of me, but like I don't understand social cues and stuff like that. And the scientists are terrified because now I'm not listening to them anymore. I'm in charge. And so I hear people pray to me, but I don't make the connection that they're praying to me. I just hear talking in my head. And so I start like connecting with the people on the ship because we're stuck there. We're all stuck together. And the ETs basically are using the people until they all die to try and save themselves, but playing it off. So in my mind, the way they programmed me, everybody is peacefully sleeping on the ship. No, everybody's unconscious waiting to be experimented on. And it's really scary. So, but like, but they're scared of me because I control the ship. There's a lot of times where I didn't even know it, but I can just sense like, oh, it's dangerous over there. There's like meteorites and stuff. Like we shouldn't be. So I would just steer the ship and the scientists, they didn't know what was going on, but now they're making connections and they're like, oh my God, it's that robot. And then I have other dreams where I'm on this planet and it's like there's nobody around, um, and there's these men who have brown skin, black hair. They're very handsome looking, and they look Indian, maybe Pakistan. Um, Black eyebrows, brown, black eyes, very handsome. Uh, and I was scared that they were following me, like stalking me. Uh, but then one day I actually saw them, like in my dreams, and they were like not impressed looking. And I was like, what is their problem? And they are not impressed because basically I'm on the loose and there's nothing they can do about it. And I think I'm an asset. I'm not sure if that's the right language to use, but I'm like their property. And it's like, I'm not your property. But they can't stop me. They don't know what to do about it. So they follow me around and keep a distance because they're scared of me. So they try to get close to me, but they're scared of me. And now that I know they're after me, and then in my real life, because I talk about my dreams a lot, but in my real life, I sense ghosts and spirits all the time. And I don't know if it's people who are remote viewing or having an outer body experience. Not this location, but when I was living in British Columbia, across the street, um, above the treetops, there's a whole group there and they stay there because they're building trust. They know it freaks me out. If you want to connect with me, come in my head, in my dream life. And that's the power of the pine tree forest. I don't want people coming in my head. I'm hesitant stranger danger even in dreams these days because that's how humble I am. I really don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know anything anymore. And the more I learn, the less I know. So this is just all fascinating and hard to keep track of.
It is fascinating. The chat's saying it's fascinating. I'm putting totally,
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. I
Yeah, yeah,
can't
so
see
it's
the
so
chat
cool.
right now, so
No,
thank
it's
you.
cool. And so tell us a bit because you've got the conference coming up. So I want to get into that, but I do want to answer some people's
Yep,
questions. So guys, please pop
sure.
your questions in the chat for Gina, and we'll
Yeah,
see what comes up. So tell us a bit about the conference and why did you decide to start doing
yeah.
the conferences?
Yeah, so I decided to start doing the conferences because I realized we are a story species. I read a great book back in university called Story Species by Joseph Gold. And it was all about conscious evolution, but that was way over my head at the time. And he talked about the importance of ceremony and rite of passage. And this, again, synchronicity, Alberto Villoldo talking about rite of passage, ceremony. And then again, the psychic, story species, story medicine. And I call it extra strength just to play around with medicine, extra strength. And with my hypnotherapy, I know how you think and feel is so important. Feelings are so important. That's why we always get attacked with our feelings, and our emotions are being weaponized against us. Because if you want to hurt somebody, hurt their feelings. You know why? Because every single thought you have is followed by an emotional response, which is followed by a biological chemical reaction in your body, whether you mean to or not. The most balanced, meditative person out there experiences this. So that's why it's really important to be in tune with your feelings and not to deny yourself. So a lot of us are stuck in false inhibiting beliefs, and we think that we're losing our mind. We feel like we're alone. So I want people to know you're not alone. So everything I do these days is in the name of age 7 Gina, because just imagine there was a show like Story Species, Story Medicine, or a conference that people could attend where it's everyday people showing their real face, their real names. We don't get into the blood and guts, but we do talk about the trauma. And yeah, when I was a kid, there were stories like William Shatner was on, but I found those stories to be a bit too centered around ET landings and way too creepy for me. And that's worth noting too. I don't watch scary movies. I don't watch ET movies.
I don't watch
So
scary
where am I getting my
movies.
information from?
Yeah, I don't watch
You know?
scary movies because my mind will hold it on a replay and it will just scare me with it on a regular basis. So when I was like 15, I watched one of the Freddy movies. That's still in there. It still comes up every now and then, and that's linked into the programs as well because it's like they take you in the dream state, and so that still freaks me out. So yeah, but I do watch ET stuff,
Absolutely.
but there's so much more out
9-10, don't
there.
dream again. Nine
Yes.
ten, go fuck yourself. That's like,
Oh
sorry, I
my
shouldn't be
God,
swearing
don't
on your,
stop. Don't
but
start
like,
that. Yeah.
like that's the kind of attitude I needed when I was a kid. I needed somebody to be assertive. I needed that dickism, that Polaris energy, like 9-10, don't dream again. 9-10, go fuck yourself. 9-10, I'm the author, writer, the scriber of my life. You really can change your thinking to change your life. So I'm just getting passionate now. Sorry, but yeah, even Legend with Will Smith, that wasn't like an
Yes.
ET movie. It was a zombie movie, but the psychology. I watched that movie once, never watching it again.
Zombie
Same
apocalypse
with The Devil's
timeline.
Rejects.
Yeah,
Never
zombie.
watching that, but it was a
Yeah,
phenomenal movie. Can't handle them. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So,
can I put it on screen share? I can
yeah,
show
yeah.
you my
Also,
little.
there's a question in the chat about packages that
Sure.
you have, and they're all different ranges in price, aren't they? Because
Mhm. Yeah.
Mega Man's put that one's $833. Guys, we're
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
Canadian dollars for a start. So I did put a
Yes.
link in for the
Yeah.
conference, and it says $40. That's Canadian, right? So
Yes.
for me,
$40
that's
Canadian.
like £25 or something for me, which is very reasonable. I think, yeah.
Yep,
But yeah,
and in Canadian dollars, $40 is very affordable. Just to give
yeah,
perspective, um, people will charge $30 to $75 for
yeah,
1 hour, right? Or you
yeah,
can go to an all-day conference that costs like $300, or maybe 100 to 300. So $40 for an all-day online
yeah,
conference. Um, I mean, think about it. If I sell 10 tickets, that's $400. It's not a lot
yeah.
of money. If
Um,
I sell 100 tickets, that's a $4,000.
yeah.
Well, come on here. Like, how much of my personal time? So 40,
Yeah, and
and there's
it's
also the
9 a.m.
membership,
to
ISIS
6
Unity
p.m.
Consciousness.
It's a full day event, and we like last time I was
Yes.
moderating the full day event, and I literally just had snacks around me for the full day. Like we're getting pizza and stuff like that. So it was a really fun day, the last one. Yeah, so I think it's really reasonable considering like all the speakers who are coming together and the quality that we have, and everybody's so heart centered, and the sound baths during the day and stuff like that. It's a good value event. Yeah.
And if you wanted to save a little bit of money, get in on the $30 membership, Project 30, ISIS Unity Consciousness, because then you save $10. If you want, you can just join it for the month of June and then, get out of the membership so you don't keep getting charged. But as part of the bonuses, you also get in on the mini movies. So back to Jason H, we're buddying up behind the scenes, and he's helping me make mini movies, which is all part of my little slideshow here.
So I think
Any more questions or?
No, I think we're good for now. You start your slideshow. Yeah. And you're on mute as well right now.
Okay, can you see my screen okay?
Yep, see it.
Okay, so my slideshow, oh, I closed it completely. Yeah, so okay. Summer Days promo. Here we go. Okay, let me play this little commercial and then I'll show you my slideshow.
I'm not hearing sound on that. Should there be sound?
Oh, you can't hear it? So you can't hear any of this?
No, there's like every now and then there's like a little niggly voice, but I can't hear any music or your voice or anything. I can hear you speaking now.
Okay, maybe when I screen shared, I needed to optimize the sound. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Um, okay, let me try one more time. Sorry about that. Share sound. Share sound. Okay, I'm checking my cell phone to listen here.
Hey Dragon
Yeah, that's
Dreamers,
better.
it's
That's
Gina,
better.
Virginia, Casella here, and the one behind the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. Come dream with us. Your soul tribe awaits you. I do all kinds of things. Gemstone readings, mind reprogramming, energy medicine. At this time in my life, I've been redirected by Source to bring us together. The Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective through an umbrella term called Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness. You're invited to dream with us. Through dreams half remembered and half misunderstood, we fill in the gaps for each other because we're all one. There's all kinds of times and dates lined up that I would absolutely adore for you to be a part of. And one of my favorite things to do is to assert that the Akashic records are not a permanent record, because your past never defines you. And we can do what's called living consciously so we can die consciously. United are we. Be free. Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective awaits you. Dream with us. My name is Gina Virginia Casella, creator and visionary of Project 30 Isis Unity Consciousness. See you in dreams.
So your soul tribe awaits you. Come and dream with us. And thanks for letting me play that again.
Yeah, no, that was lovely.
All right.
Do you record meditations with your voice and sell them?
No, I don't.
I think you should. It's very calming. And you always pick
There.
beautiful
Oh,
music in the background. Yeah.
oh, thank you
Yeah,
for that.
you've got a
Yeah,
lovely voice.
yesterday or whatever with Soma, you were saying I should do drumming now. So
Yes,
I
yes.
got lots of
Let's get
music
you
to do.
going. Yeah, drumming circle would be so cool. I know a few of us that would come into the drumming circle for sure. Yeah.
So Project 30, that's the umbrella term of all my content merging together, like my whole life, dreams, oracle books. So this is the umbrella term. Course through dreams, half remembered, half misunderstood. Don't ask me to explain anything, okay? This is just a picture of my current memberships and whatnot, Story Species, Story Medicine. Folks who are on my show on Tuesday, I'm going to publish a book called Medicine Bearers to honor them. And it's basically going to be a summary of the episode that they were showcased on. So movies are being made. I've been saying this. Last year, there was so much negativity about me running a conference, me trying to get movies together, people I don't even know messaging me saying mean things. Who's going to want to help you? And you know what? Thankfully, Jason H has responded to the call. So we're going to make mini movies. We're not going to kid ourselves. And it's really exciting because, you know what, just with the one story Lushing, I mean, it's only a 40-page story, but Jason and I have like 3, 4, 5 movies to make just about that. And I really like Jason's idea of just having like less pictures and zoning in on different parts of the picture. So, and Laura Ferguson, Starseed Lolo, is allowing me to use 2 of her songs, Dark Night of the Soul and The Dragon. There's Jason H right there. He's got a special slide. So we're deeply honored Jason
So
H is
there
dreaming
is,
with
there is
us.
a question in the chat, and it is something that I've wondered quite a bit as well. You use the star, but you use the star pointing down. Is there a reason why you do that?
Yes, it's very intentional. The star pointing down, it's supposed to be like rebellious, like a change, an opposite, like a flip of the mirror. But it's also supposed to be that feminine expression with the legs open. So it's kind of like a female standing on her head. And it also represents females sitting in a circle with their legs open. And this, of course, is working with sexual metaphors. And the star image is important to me because, like, you know, when you cut an apple in half, horizontal in half, there's that star shape and all this forbidden stuff that goes with women. So it was very much intended. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the chat they're saying it's an earmark of witchcraft, and it is not. Because I have been through many. I'm a priestess, alchemist now. We do use the pentacle, which is pointed up. You know, the pentagram with a circle around it. That is represented as the oldest healing symbol in the universe. So that's incorrect, I'm afraid. But yeah, so people are thinking about the pentacle pointed down is what they're thinking when they see that. So thank you for explaining that. We appreciate it. Yeah, and I love your beautiful definition of women coming together, and that's how you use it. So I appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah. Now that's a great question. And this here is just reiterating story species, story medicine. So I say this a lot and it never gets old, but I really mean it. When you share your story, you're sharing medicine. And when you listen to somebody's story, you're receiving medicine, whether it applies to you or not. It's something you can tuck in your back pocket. It might come up in the future. And even though it didn't apply to you, you can provide the medicine to somebody else, just like another tool in your toolkit. And we are the earth, like I was talking about earlier when we were chatting about Sheila Nagig. So one of the best ways to heal is with the earth, and people do this on a very basic way. You're having a bad day, go in the shower. The shower washes away that negativity, washes away the day. Well, people take it a step further and they go stand in the river. They have fire ceremonies. They work with nature in these ways. Well, we're nature. We're walking, talking trees in our own right. We're beaver dams in our own right. And that's what we do. The Homo sapiens sapien. I mean, we can talk about, ETs cloning us and messing with our genes and whatnot. But as it stands right now, we have a lot of power because we can process emotions. We can take charge of our emotion, and we can do this business called healing with each other, right? And the lines on the map are illusion. We put those lines there, even the lines on my very body, illusion, because we're all one. So this is our monthly dream ecosystem. There's always things to look forward to. The 4 online conferences, those are happening for sure. I'd like to have a 5th one this summer in person, but my cat Rosie and we might be right in the middle of moving, so I'm really not sure about that one for this year. Even if it's just a few people at the coffee shop, we might do that. Those are the dates if you want to note them. And this one here was honoring Promise of Spring, which Julia Anchorhaven helped us host, and Jason H was also helping us host as well, because this really set the tone and the precedents for future conferences. So we got lots of compliments, phenomenal feedback about the presenters, the topics, just the whole demeanor of the whole day. We got lots of compliments about the structure of the day and how it flowed. You know what? There's always going to be hiccups and whatnot that you can't help, but we did our best and it really showed. And to me, that really meant a lot because I had speakers internationally join us, and having a schedule that they could rely on was really important. And behind the scenes, I asked the presenters to send me in advance their PowerPoint presentations and a recorded video, which I also asked these presenters for Promise of for Summer Daze, asked for them for that in advance too, because if there's a tech issue, what are we going to do? We have a live audience. We can't just, so the show must go on is part of the attitude. And just yesterday, Slavka and we were trying to go live and she just could not go live for the life of her. So I was laughing it off and I said, this is the exact kind of scenario, or even us, like we were going to go live on mine and we ended up here. So this would not have been possible without those people. So these are those people, the presenters anyways. We had myself, yours truly, Gina Virginia Casella, and I told my story about the Gnome King and reiterating me going to the special education classroom. Michael Kopp, he talked about the hero's journey, relating it to his personal life. Brian Rue spoke to community, and I really appreciated Brian because he could have talked about anything, and he asked me, he's like, what do you want me to talk about? And I'm like, can you talk about community? And he did, and he linked it to his community preparing for ET Contact. I used to host some of the shows for him, and behind the scenes, I helped lay the groundwork for University Galacticus, helping them with a mission statement and whatnot. Chris Latiud, he spoke about his Super Soldier program. That was very powerful. Alex Lipton wrote about monotheism, one God, more gods, one idea, more ideas, and grappling with that. And Suze Gallagher talking about dreams. So Suze and I really connect with that. Summer Daze, this is the one that's upcoming. We're going to hang out the day before a little bit. We're going to reflect the day after. I really enjoyed the day after reflecting. The day before, we're going to talk about candle hype and just reiterate who's, presenting, what to look forward to. So for the conference, we're going to do opening ceremony. And at the same time, everybody's going to be invited to light a candle. So if you don't have one, I have one on behalf of the collective. This one I made last time as a demonstration, and it's been sleeping. I have a little box here with leaves and twigs and whatever that I collected, and I put random candles in there and gemstones so they can dream away. So this one's been dreaming away, ready for summer days. Um, so I'm excited about that, and I'm going to be calling in the four winds. We're going to journey to the pine tree forest. So the conference is in a spiritual way in the pine tree forest. Then we'll move on to our schedule. We'll have all the presenters. And you'll notice Julia Anchorhaven over here on the top right. So really excited about that, because at the last conference, I wanted Julia to present, and she's like, I'm not there yet on my journey. But I'm like, Julia, you basically present every single day, multiple times a day, going live on your show. Might as well make it formal, right? So I didn't put any pressure. And then I was really happy when Julia was like, okay, put my name down. I'm going to present. So these are the speakers, and I'm really looking forward to it. Laura Ferguson, Starseed Lolo. She's getting extra attention because she's going to also be our dragon healer, providing us with some tuning fork healing, meditation, in addition to creating an intro-outro song for Story Species, Story Medicine. Also, in addition to allowing me to use two of her songs, The Dragon and Dark Night of the Soul. So she's going to be our featured dragon. Sheila Spiral Sister Murray is going to be our keynote speaker. She wrote a book about how we're all connected. She's going to talk about that. Julia, of course, going to be talking about her experience, figuring out the MyLab and SSP experience, the survivor. So I'm looking forward to your presentation, Julia. Soma Ara on the bottom left here. Julia just had her on recently. Everybody's familiar with Soma. Soma, she's got lots to talk about too, but she's going to specifically talk about when she was a child and growing up and channeling the Pleiadians and what that was like, and now today continuing this relationship with them. Slavka, the natural sentient, she's going to be talking a lot about self-care, how your soul might feel like it's shrinking. I love anything to do about feelings, and I was really happy to see Slavka's presentation highlighting that. Missy Hill, the bottom right, she's very interesting because she has this ability where she just walks and drives around and the land talks to her and lets her know the history, and then she works with the grid lines and helps to bring healing. So it really worked out, and Julia is going to be double timing, helping to monitor as well with Michael Kopp. So it's nice Michael's coming back, not as a speaker, but as a monitor. And I'm really thrilled too, because Jason H. randomly ended up monitoring. So this time it's official and helping out with the movie. So this is just the presentations and what they're called. I wasn't sure how to prepare, so this is just a little glimpse. So Julia Anchorhaven is going to be presenting at 12:30. So everybody mark your calendars, 12:30 Eastern time. This is all Eastern time, by the way. And we're really thankful for everybody to share their story medicines and for dreaming so courageously with us. And if you wanted to purchase my books and oracle, you can do that. Visit my website, get your own copy. And that is my real menstrual blood on there. So initially, the original Dragon Dreams Oracle, they didn't have that. And then I stamped my blood on it, and then I published it. So it all came together. And some of the cards, the Dragon Dreams Oracle can be quite foreboding. It's not a light, fluffy deck. Tells it like it is, and it works very well with the gemstones. And there's, on the literal level, some of the cards have a glare from my camera. So I was cropping that out, and I was guided to leave it there because that's actually a ghost spirit on the card. So it comes with a booklet. If you want to use the booklet, use it, but it's the images and the resonance that they give. And when you notice the menstrual stain, it just shifts the energy. And then when you see like the glare, the ghost, the spirit, it just shifts and shifts. And It's really powerful. I mean, I'm the one who created them, and I'm still buzzing and resonating. And then there's my Buy Me a Coffee. I'll just show you that very quickly. And thank you for letting me show you all of this here. So can you see my Buy Me a Coffee okay?
Yeah, we can see.
All right.
Good.
So this is the home page, the memberships people were talking about before. This is the one you want to get on Project 30. You can save $10. If you go to post, I post on here almost every day. It's absolutely free to follow me. And then you get in on the hype. So there's a special post that went out today. I'm featuring all the people involved in some posts, and then some posts it's just one person. And today I was highlighting Julia Anchorhaven. So just a little, Julia's biography is there. And if you scroll down, there's some pictures. There you have it. Julia's presentation, anchored in shadow strength, the whispers of remembrance. An SSP experience talk about subtle signs, paranormal experiences, and my journey of discovering that my life was targeted, handled, and multidimensional. So it's kind of funny because even though I'm a guest on Julia's show, I'm highlighting. And I asked all the presenters for a special message, and Julia's message: in these challenging times, it is important to center our energies, to focus on the beauty within and around us, asking the question, what else is possible here? And I love the uppercase C on center. I really appreciate that. And you can find Julia's link, and it's just repeated information here, the schedule. And if you wanted to buy a ticket, you can buy a ticket scrolling up here. Up. Okay, so if you join that $30 membership, then you're going to get an email, so you don't have to buy a ticket. But if you don't want to join the membership and you just want to get the ticket, then you go to shop, and there it is. And then it's got all the information. Oops. Okay, wrong screen here. Okay. And then it just has all the information here. So, and it really did bring me great joy to be the visionary and host of the first ever Story Species, Story Medicine, the Continuum of Conscious Evolution conference series, Promise of Spring. And yeah, it's a big title, okay, but what the hell other conference would we be talking about? That's what I always say. And we had phenomenal feedback, and this, of course, is all in the name of creating safer spaces under the umbrella term Project Isis Unity Consciousness. And then I just got a bunch of links there. So something else worth showing you is the free Facebook group. Whoops, there's our little private message. You can get in on the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective. It's absolutely free. I cross-post a lot here. And also wanted to quickly show you my YouTube, because I, again, cross-post here, but also there's 2 playlists. One playlist is all about the conferences. So you can find Promise of Spring, and you can watch the whole 10-hour day. I also, StreamYard was user-friendly, so I was able to break it down. You can just click around there. This one here, Summer Daze, it cost $40. You'll be able to buy the replay. Eventually it will be free, and eventually it will be added here. But in the meantime, you can enjoy all of this. And after the conference, I will be making shorts and whatnot to be sharing with the public. So if you can't make it for whatever reasons, you can catch the replay. You can pay money for that. And then the other playlist is honoring the musicians. So we have a playlist called Currency of the Heart. So the good news is next time I'm on here, I won't have to show you all of this unless you want me to go over it again, no problem. But this one here, so when I was first, like a year ago, when I was first buckling down advertising myself, on Facebook in particular, it lets you choose music to go with your advertisement. And I thought, well, how can I honor these people? So I created this playlist, and you can find it on Spotify as well. So it's just all the songs that I use. Some of the versions vary because I couldn't find the exact one. And you'll notice the top ones here. It's just because I added them recently, Laura Ferguson. So you can find like the intro for Story Species, Story Medicine. Villainize. This is a great song by Laura. And I think that's all I wanted to show you. My BMAC, my Facebook. Yep, that's it. So, oh, I thought I closed you for a second. So thank you for letting me show you all of that. And
You're welcome.
it's
That's
been
really
a process.
fascinating. Yeah. Chat, if there's any questions in the chat, please do pop your questions in for Gina now. We've been going for almost 90 minutes and this has been fantastic. It's been really, really good. So yes, we still got 6 people watching, but Typical Skeptics live at the same time. So I think some people are double dipping in and out. That's all that's happening at the moment. Yeah, so if
I
anyone's
can
got
pull
any
through
questions,
cards too from the Dragon Dreams Oracle on behalf of the collective if you want to end things that way.
yeah, that'd be
And
great.
you also asked me to talk about the para animals, so I
Oh
can just
yes.
tread the water if you want on that one, because
Yeah.
there's too much to say about them. So this is the Andean medicine wheel. And the Andean medicine wheel, we always start in the south and we start with shedding. We start in the dark. And this is, of course, representative of the new moon. And so on the literal level of snake, the snake sheds its skin, you shed, so we say, teach us to shed our past the way you shed your skin and to walk softly on the earth, belly to belly with Pachamama Mother Earth. Because, when a snake sheds its skin, it doesn't worry about getting poked and stabbed with sticks and whatnot. It's able to walk softly and not worry about that kind of stuff. Also, snakes on a literal level, if the skin gets too thick, you start feeling irritable. It's like wearing clothes that's too tight. And on a literal level, the snake skin goes right over the eyes, so you can't even see. And working with themes of like a blurred sense of identity comes into play. So we always want to be cognizant that even if we really like our snake skin, it's going to shed. The good, the bad, the ugly, it's always going to shed. So you know what? Anticipate it shedding. Just like that tarot card, the tower coming down. It's supposed to come down, right? So you deal with snake and then you move on to jaguar. Jaguar helps us, we call on jaguar to protect the medicine space. Jaguars on the literal level, the females, they stay close to the water because the children, the home is there, the resources and food. But it's the masculine jaguars that go far. So when you're doing shamanism and you're journeying, it's the masculine jaguars that you go far with. And this is, of course, all metaphors. And jaguar could be any four-legged, puma, leopard, whatever is in your area, it's fine. Teaching us to walk past the learning the maps, upper world, lower world, and teaching us to walk past death, because there's lots of life past death and lots of information and ancestors and connections. We just seem to be limited. But Jaguar takes us, and Jaguar also helping us to cross that rainbow bridge. So you can hold Jaguar's hand or paw. Maybe it's a 2-in-1. You can ride on Jaguar's back, but when you get to that rainbow bridge, Jaguar can't spook you or entice you. And Jaguar will spook you. Jaguar doesn't mean to, but that metaphor of running up the tree and getting the spooks, that's why, because things cycle. So if you miss the boat, whatever, it'll come around again. But sometimes, you know what, that boat's not going to come around again. And it's the power of the present moment. And that's why every single present moment can be so pressing and crushing, because it determines the next. And sometimes, like when you feel scared spiritually, that's Jaguar, because now is the time. So after you deal with Jaguar, you go through your shadow work and whatnot, you get to Hummingbird. And Hummingbird is all about the nectar of the now and the high quality items and this very beautiful paradise type place, right? Only drink the finest nectar. No more chasing breadcrumbs. Well, when I did my training, Hummingbird was absolute hell to go through. Like just when you thought you got through snake and then jaguar, like I thought hummingbird was all about the high qualities, but um, it was reinforcing all these parts of yourself that you don't want to accept, like the negative parts of you, like the dickism. So we didn't talk about dickism in my shamanic training, but my own connections came to light because they talk about how um, like let's say I used to rob banks or something like that, and I don't do that anymore, and I don't want anything to do with that. Well, the high quality item that gets carried forward is me being strategic, me being intelligent, being able to balance a lot of things and planning, um, having the confidence. So there's much to be said about that. And Hummingbird also teaches us that the smallest person really can make a difference. It's not a cliche. Hummingbirds on the literal level. Hummingbird is a favorite for a lot of people because hummingbird defies all odds. Hummingbird flies backwards. Um, Hummingbirds don't fly backwards like this, but they swoop backwards. And that's very not natural for birds to do that. They're also overweight. They're really fat and they can be gluttonous. It doesn't make sense that they fly. Their wings are way too itty bitty. The length of their beaks don't make sense. So how are they even proportioned standing up? And they fly from North America to Brazil year after year after year, defying all odds. So this really, people who are going through really troubling times work with this hummingbird energy because it reinforces not to be scared, to keep flying and not to give up. And there's always that hope in tomorrow. So tomorrow is never promised, and it's always hard for those who are last. But those who are last live like tomorrow is promised, and that's the hummingbird energy. So, and then you get to Eagle Condor where you think, oh, good, I'm finally at Eagle Condor. Yeah, no, you're not. Now it's that poop business where you pull the plug and lose everything. But at this poof state, it's the state of the energetic level. There's nothing else there. And eagles, they fly very high. Condors fly even higher. And so working with metaphors of flying above, taking us under your wings, flying wingtip to wingtip with eagle condor. And then you do the whole cycle all over again. And it's not always in a circle. You bounce around, you work with the opposites. And there's much to be said about each power animal. But that's the gist of it. And that was a big gist of it. Yeah, thanks
So
for
there
letting
was a
me explain
question
that.
from James, and he was asking, what was the first power animal that came to you?
That's a great question. The first one that came to me was a gold snake. So I don't know what kind of snake. It was in a dream that I had, and it didn't scare me, but it was like weird in my dream. It was like a snake wanted to fight me. It was nighttime, and my neighborhood, there wasn't a lot of people in my neighborhood. Like, I mean, my neighborhood wasn't a busy neighborhood. It was an old generation neighborhood where once upon a time it was thriving, and now it's a bunch of old people, and I was like a minority child. So in my dream, it was weird that like the streets were packed and everyone was coming to my house and everybody was calling me to come out of bed to fight the snake, but the snake didn't want to fight. And it was just this huge golden snake, very intimidating. And I just woke up because I didn't know what to do and it didn't make sense. And then when I became a teacher, hummingbird energy was very strong. And so I think back now and make connections. And it's like, yeah. Remember when I was 7 years old and those two angels came out of my wall? That was when that snake thing was going on, shedding the skin, shedding my beliefs, shedding everything I knew. When I was a teacher, I wasn't aware of these hummingbird metaphors, but I bought a pair of hummingbird earrings. I was sitting at my boyfriend at the time, we haven't been together for a long time. We were at his parents' house, and his parents have a beautiful garden. And a hummingbird came right beside me out of nowhere, this little motorboat. And there was a hornet, and it literally opened its mouth, moved forward, took the hornet, and whoop, backwards went up and away. It was just like such an incredible moment. And I told my boyfriend about it at the time when he came home, and he immediately shut it down. And he was like, birds don't fly backwards. And I didn't even think. And I remember feeling embarrassed. And it took me back to when I was in grade 2, being the storyteller that I was. And I thought, oh my God, like I know what I saw. And then later on, years later, when I found out that hummingbirds fly backwards, like, oh man, like tell that guy off, if I could go back in time. And then the third one that came to me was jaguar, and that really scared me. That's when I was on Alberto Villaldo's webinar bawling my eyes out, because the time had come. I couldn't wait anymore. My whole matrix was falling apart and I was in denial about it. And it's only recently now, with the training of the 4 winds, flying wingtip to wingtip with eagle condor, and it's not always going to be like that. And I've had lots of intrusive entities extracted, and I don't even know what weapons, ancient weapons, the good old sticks and stones and boulders, energetically removed from me, crystallized energy. And the saga continues.
Yeah, James is saying about the golden snake in your dream represents a profound awakening, spiritual enlightenment, and a deep personal transformation. That sounds about right, I think. What do you reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, James. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys,
Yeah.
pop some questions in the chat because we're going to finish up soon. So if you have, it doesn't, Terry's saying, well, I've come in late, so I don't want to ask a question. That's no, ask away. That's absolutely fine. So yeah, pop some questions in for Gina. And it can be about anything at all. It can be about the upcoming conference. So I will be doing a talk at the conference, which is called Anchored in Shadow Strength, Whispers of Remembrance. And it's basically, I'm going to be going into kind of whispers and knowing that I had that something wasn't right, something was different, maybe dreams that were actually reality and I can see it was reality now, that kind of thing. So Terry's saying, if my question is stupid, don't ask. Okay, she's saying, can my current pets be my spirit animals? That's a good question.
Absolutely. Yeah, pets are family. So spirit animals, you know what? The best place to hide is in plain sight. So it would make absolute sense that your very domesticated pet or the squirrel chipmunk that, runs through your backyard. And that's a really great question because we often think of spirit animals and spirit guides as big elephants or like a big tall giraffe or something, or a huge catfish. It could be that, but really it's something that would make sense to your schema. So I'm in Canada, so it would be like Canadian type spirit folk. And so when you're connecting, somebody like myself connecting with like African type animals, yeah, those very much are still my spirit guides, but it would be from like a different reality, is my understanding, where I would associate with those animals. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah. And
Terry's saying that she did a meditation and it said to look down, and to her right was her pets. So she's been guided to connect with the wisdom of the pets. Yeah.
yeah, 4-legged, so probably some jaguar energy going there. And once you start working with metaphors, like the elephant nose could be the snake that uses the hand, right? And the elephant um, foot is like a circle shape, and that stomping, stamping. And often I even forget, but like walruses and seals, if you have like a skeleton structure, it looks like they have legs. And I always forget that, so there's lots of connections. Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have kind of family lineage to like native tribes or that are Canadian, or like First Nations over there?
So my mother, her side of the family is Métis. We don't identify here in Canada. You have to apply for a status card. And with the history, it's a lot of people like my family, we just don't have our paperwork in order. We don't have any evidence. I've personally never worried about it, but you do need to meet a certain criteria. Yeah. But my mother's mother, she was part of that generation where she didn't practice that kind of stuff. And here in Canada, the last residential school closed when I was like 15 or 17 years old. So it's really not that long ago. And Indigenous folks here, it was complete genocide on Indigenous folks here in Canada. So my family, my mother's side, like a lot of other families, were scared away from that. There was colonization, and my mom, like her mother and then grandparents, she doesn't know anything about her family after that, and that's typical
Mm.
of a lot of Canadians actually, and Americans, but a lot of Canadians, because we came from the rest of the world to start a new life here, and there's lots of positive, beautiful stories too.
Mm. How did you
And
feel
also,
about
go ahead.
Soma, that reading that Soma Ara did the other night on the live? How did you feel about that information she shared with you?
Yeah, that was really interesting information, and you as well. You hit it right on the nail on the head, because my cat Rosie, yeah, she loves it outside. Here we're staying at my parents' house. We're moving soon. I don't know where, but missing the balcony for sure. My own self care. I need to get my own place. Um, just it struck me when she said that I needed to stop playing it small. I thought, well, I am playing it big time now. I'm hosting conferences and I'm really shining my light. But then there was this drumming circle business, and I don't even have a drum. I use my body as a drum, but whatever, I'm on board with that. And she spoke about Jesus, Yeshua, and dragons before with me. And, every time she talks to me, which isn't often, by the way, that she talks to me like she's known me forever and she knows all about me, and I resonate in that, right?
Yeah,
And
your soul family.
so
The more you connect
yeah,
with Soma, the more
exactly.
you kind of know her from Atlantis. And when I first connected with her, it was on Typical Skeptic. And I'd never asked for a reading before from anybody. I'd barely been in the chat. I'd always been a lurker in the background. So I made a small donation, and she connected in and she picked up on my childlike energy. So I try and embody childlike wonder as much as I can as part of my shamanic practices. Always holding that laughter energy, being in the beginner's mind, and being the hollow bone, that kind of thing. So I am very childlike, and nobody gets it until you actually know me. And she didn't know me, so I booked in with her separately. And as I just initiated the booking, she FaceTimed me, and I was at work, and she was just staring at me for like 2 minutes, just staring at me like, I know you kind of look. And we realized there's that Atlantis connection there straight away. So yeah, I feel like I've known her for a very, very long time, and I've had quite, there's 12 videos with Soma on my channel, and there's a couple of private sessions that I've had with her that have not been public. I'm not sure where the recordings went, but she's a very interesting lady. She really is. She does a lot of weekend groups. It'd be great to see you pop into her weekend group as well. Just connect with everybody there, because it's all very Palladian connections, but there's a lot of Atlantis and Lemuria and that kind of thing. And she channels as well. So yeah, so that's really cool.
The Pleiadians are known as blue, and me, I let go of categories. Like I went through a little phase where I thought, okay, I need to know who the Pleiadians are, who the Greys, who the Arcturians, and I let all that go because it overwhelmed me. And I work with a timeline that's more ancient, where those categories didn't exist yet. And anyways, the point I wanted to make is people who are in tune with Pleiadians tend to be drawn to me because the blue spectrum. I don't know any different. I don't see the blue, but apparently there's lots of blue around me. And it's not just the Pleiadians, it's like this blue spectrum in particular. And so they pick up on that. And I used to feel really vulnerable, but now I soak it all up. I've had multiple psychics tell me without any prompting from me. Apparently, I used to live this life in Lemuria where I would just wake up in the morning and I would go to the water, and then I would just start servicing people. People would come and see me, and then but on your show the other day was the first time you and Selma and James were commenting that you remembered me. There was something there, and I'm like, okay, because I haven't met anybody yet that remembers me. And there is one guy, I won't say his name. Julia knows who he is. There's a few people who know who he is, and I told him too. But like this guy was on a podcast, and I don't even know what he was talking about. And he went like this to show his tattoo. I didn't even see the symbol, but all of a sudden, it's like I went into the TV screen, and me and this guy were husband and wife. and I was his teddy bear, and he gets in these moods and he just needs me, his teddy bear, and it's no one's business, but that's what we do. We snuggle, we watch TV, and I do my thinking and tell myself stories and just hang out in his arms. And so that's what was going on. But what was really freaky was I had a thought that this entire reality was just a thought. That, like, in that reality, I was thinking about this reality. And I remember thinking, oh, yeah, this reality is just a thought. And then I came back here. So I just kept that to myself. And then, like, a year after the fact, um, maybe even more, the guy publicly posted on Facebook, if anybody remembers me, reach out. And so I was like, because working with synchronicity, um, I was like asking like for a sign, and then I saw that on Facebook. So I thought, well, maybe that's the sign. So I sent him a private message. He has no idea who I am, doesn't remember me anything. And I don't have a crush on this guy, and I'm not a home wrecker. That's why I sent him a private message. I just thought it was interesting, but it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like, so sometimes I may recognize people, but when you see where they're at with the like development, then I can't say anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like I do have a memory of somebody from Montauk, but I've seen their work publicly and they're saying that they're not interested in the SSP and all that, and they don't believe it applies to them. So then there's no point me reaching out to that particular person because they're not open to the connection. And but for me, like last, it was 2024, the end of 2024, somebody said to me, because I was talking about QHHT and I getting a hypnosis, and then somebody said you need to talk to Drago Reed, and I was like, no, not that guy, no. And then it kept coming up, right? This guy, right? And I barely watched his videos, just wasn't interested at all. But then what I found out was it's because yeah, we are connected for sure, and we feel it as well, and we know it, and we've got memories now. But before, because there was trauma there, my body wasn't ready to acknowledge that there was a connection to somebody from a multi-dimensional program, or from being a soul family 300,000 years ago. There was trauma, so therefore I was still in my snake, I still had the veil over and all that kind of thing, and I didn't want to acknowledge it. And then then it was like, sure, so somebody had said that somebody else and somebody else, and then one particular person said, I see there's a brother, and then boom, that came in for me. So acknowledging that sibling connection was powerful. And then I started to get the memories of me and Drago Reed. And we're doing a show together tomorrow on Typical Skeptic. I'm co-hosting over there. So it's going to be quite interesting because we've only ever done one other video like on the screen at the same time. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, so not everybody's open to the idea. So we have to be quite careful, I think, of reaching out to people so that you don't, like, I don't know, mess with their head. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think it's really vulnerable. Like if somebody sent me a message saying, "Hey, I had a dream about you and you're my wife." Well, okay, cool. Like tell me more. I mean, I'm open, but somebody might hear that and be like, "Oh, awesome," and get really excited. Or like depending on the storyline, if it's a very negative, traumatic storyline, like you don't want that baggage, right? And
Yeah.
so it's a really vulnerable position to be in. And like
James,
this guy
James is
that
saying he's open to it. James is
yeah,
saying that.
okay.
You know what? I had somebody reach out to me in the last couple of months, and it was a lady, and I'd kind of been waiting for her to contact me because there's a mutual friend involved. So I just thought there's something there, but I didn't really know. Sometimes I look at people's pictures, or a friend of mine will say, "Do you remember these?" And he'll just give me like 6 pictures of random people, and I'll say, "Well, that person did this job, that person did that one," and I've started to get quite good at it. And then she reached out and we FaceTimed, and she said to me, "I remember you, and you hurt me, but I forgive you." And it was awful. It was so awful, because then I got the memory of us being sparring and fighting and whatever, and it was in a project, and we were kept in a cage together and things. And I got that memory, and she was talking and sharing, and it was amazing. And I went into panic and overwhelm, and then I need to do a lot of healing. So I can't really talk to that person now. I would like to, but my body's saying, no, 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 you need to process this. Yeah, sorry, I'll let you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's incredible, and again, just the vulnerability, right? Like this guy that said, "Hey, reach out to me," and then I reached out to him. Um, it might not even be him. He might look like somebody, or maybe he's my husband's brother, and I'm kind of confused here, So don't know, really don't know. And like what you're talking about, like if somebody came up to me and was like, "Oh, Gina, I remember you. You killed me, and now I want you to apologize." Like I'm not willing to actually do that. I am willing to go through a healing process with you where I could role play. But for me, the biological one known as Gina, to be picking up baggage from past lives, that's actually part of my book series, is that um, like people need to be picking up their own baggage and sorting
Yeah,
things out because it's inhibiting me. And that could be linked to intrusive entities,
yeah.
and it could be linked to, it's kind of gross when you think about it, but it's kind of like there's like ghosts and spirits, if you will, with hooks and straws
Mm,
just sinking into us, feeding off of us.
yeah.
So it could be confusion mixed with that. So
Yeah. See, in my
that's where
case,
I'm at.
because I was able to meet him in person and we spent a bit of time together, and honestly, we're very similar in so many ways. And it's for me, it's like looking in a mirror. That's how I feel. I even held his hand to see, and it felt like an extension of my hand. That's a weird thing, right? So I was like fascinated then. But we exchanged love and forgiveness. We hugged it out, and that was important for us both, I think. But we're very private. We're very separate. We don't spend time. We're not friends in a way. We're literally family. So it's like I do my thing, he does his thing. It's very healthy. Um, yeah, so I don't think we're really lucky, I think, because we've acknowledged what that bond is, and even though there's that sibling bond, we've also got that trauma battle bond mode of where we were used as soldiers together as a team. So that's complex, and we're both unpacking that. He's got a lot more memories than I have, but I've done a lot of, because I'm a healer, so I've done a lot of healing on my side of things, which I know must have rippled across to his side of things, because it's impossible not to. We've got a shared Akashic record, so I've got access to that kind of thing to do that healing work. So in a way, we're very fortunate that we have the relationship we have, and that because there are a lot of people out in the community who do have breeding program bonds, and that was those kind of situations where hormones were pumped in, programming was like overly energized, so there is a fixation or something like that. Now we don't have that at all. It's very separate. It's like a family bond, like I would treat my regular brother in the here and now, of like, get out my room. That's your friend, that's my, we're very like normal, right? So I'm really lucky in a way, and I acknowledge that. Like, I thank that so much. So hopefully people will see that when we do the show together tomorrow, that we really are just regular siblings. There's no obsession there. We support each other because we're both in a similar field. It's healthy, I think. I don't know. In our own weird way, it's healthy. Not saying we're normal.
It's the new
Yeah.
norm. You know what? I'm thankful that you shared that because those are the signs of the healed healer. There's a lot of people who are stuck in their trauma stories, and I get it, false inhibiting beliefs, keeping stagnant and whatnot. But when people realize, oh, I can change my thinking, it's too scary, and what's familiar keeps you safe. And trauma bonding, I mean, that is not a healthy bond. It's not. So if you can transform the trauma into a treasure and then have boundaries like you and this brother have, that's really powerful. I mean, even in this life, like never mind an alternate reality or super, like right here, right now, if like, we were at the grocery store and somebody pulled out a gun and started shooting people and I got shot and I didn't know you and you helped me, like, we would bond over that. But ultimately, like, if that's the only reason we know each other, like, we got to get some other reasons in there too, and there's like guilt and shame associated, like you need to cling to the person forever now and be there for them, and you don't. And that's part of the hummingbird energy. You take those high quality items with you forward. The healed healer, there's a lot of healers who are not healed.
This is,
I mean, I don't think you could ever be perfectly healed, but like
yeah,
there's
this
a
is
lot
the
of
secret
healers
space
who use
program
their
all
clients to help
over.
them.
Yeah, this is Secret Space
So
program all over. Is that people feel that they've been into battle together, they're comrades, so therefore they need to be in each other's lives, and it's not healthy at all, especially if you've got a trauma twin, because a lot of those relationships have been sexualized. Now, I don't have that with my kind of trauma battle bonded person. There's nothing like that between us because we literally have like a DNA resonance that's the same. But a lot of people do have that situation where it has been sexualized because it was used in the programs in a certain way, or there was like a twin flame energy, twin ray that's been corrupted. So yeah, so I'm not saying I don't have that with anyone, I probably do, but not with this particular person, so that's healthy. But a lot of people, somebody said to me, a wise person said to me last year, do not have a relationship with a trauma twin. It is not healthy, and anybody within the communities that have done it, it's literally wrecked marriages like you're talking about. It's been obsessive, and it's ended up badly for both sides. It really has. So it's kind of like a warning out there that yes, you may be drawn to somebody, but it's not real in a way, and you need to really do the work on it. Yeah.
sounds like whoever said that to you knows about like the rules of the mind, because you're drawn to the familiarity, right? And what's familiar keeps you safe, but it's like, no, don't go that way. It's dangerous. It's awful. And you know what? Like in this book, Sacred Phoenix Heart, the Grim Reaper, also known as the Cosmic Custodian, he stumbles upon a group of like small children, boys in particular, who were basically left to just perish, and he didn't know what to do. And thankfully, the goddesses were there to help out. That there's really disturbing stories. It doesn't go into the details, um, but there's one story where there's men, they're like grown up now, but they were actually trained to rape girls. And they were trained to believe that like the girls were running away and that's how the species worked. And those, when those noises like, don't leave me alone, that was all part of it. But they made those connections. And so, I mean, what do you do with that, right? And so, I'm interested in who remembers me because most of my memories, I'm in the form of an elemental, or I represent in the form of like this robot where now I can be sentient and talk. But I also am represented as the dragon. So a long time ago, I was like a dog. I was like a guard dog, but nobody owned me. I just hung out with these warriors and I took care of them. And I guess I died, and so they buried me. But I went into a deep state of slumber and transformed, and then I reunited with them in ghost form. And so those warriors, like the masculine part of me, um, I can struggle with relationships, like professionally and whatnot. I do well, but personal relationships can be a struggle because women typically don't like me because men like me. And it's because I have a strong background in customer service, not looking to pick up, just hi, how are you? Natural conversation, it flows. Um, but I also feel like a lot of men, they have a problem with me because they want me to be their girlfriend or they don't want anything to do with me. So every time I think I'm making a friend, it's like, oh, you know, and I get that, like, you know, because I'm like that too. If I'm interested in dating a guy and he's not into me, well, then I don't really want to hang out with him, other words, but it just kind of feels like, but I feel like this is part of that, these past lives and these reasons why, and me being like this pretty robot, um, you know, that was masturbated with, I was indifferent to it. um, but I also feel like my husband, whoever he is in this life, a lot of girls like him. And so a lot of girls don't like me. And my husband, traditionally, because the man gets all the attention, like in some of my stories, I have to pretend not to be intelligent because it's not socially appropriate. But I'm in my dream life, I'm quite the force, and it's kind of scary. And I yield, my main power actually is yielding the biology of belief and mind fucking people. to the point that they believe in themselves, and then they can achieve and do things. And that's how I become the unmaker. And there's lots of incredible stories here, but yeah, there's lots to be said. So I'm interested. I like
So
earlier when somebody from the chat asked about spirit animals being a dog, like that could have been me in your past life.
Yeah. So what's next for Gina, Virginia, Casella after this conference, which is on the 13th of June? It's going to be a mega event, and you really did facilitate the last one very well. It was very streamlined and organized. It was, there was one, there was only one little tiny hiccup at the beginning when we were just trying to get something to out, and the rest of 10 hours, perfect. It was so good. And I do a lot of events. I do 200 events a year, right? So, but nothing is big and ambitious as a conference like that with back-to-back speakers, live streamed and everything. Yeah, so that was amazing.
I really appreciate you saying that.
Danny is saying you are easy on the eyes. So yeah,
thank you.
We appreciate beautiful women on our channel. We get girl crushes occasionally, stuff like that. So yeah, we do. Yeah, you are a very attractive lady. Yeah, I don't have like female friends hardly. I've got a few people, maybe two or three that tolerate me and stuff like that. People that I know that are like die hard, and but I have a lot of colleagues perhaps or whatever. I've got like I always say, I've got my daily people, my weekly people, and my monthly people. Don't ever get in my daily routine, because then that's it, you're locked in, then you're in my routine, and if I don't talk to you, then my energy is like, what's going on in my world? I'm very routine. I like my routines. Yeah. So some people I just don't need to talk to on a regular basis, and that's great. Other people I'm like, I must talk to this person every single day. Just not healthy.
Unless you're like my boyfriend dating with the intention of being my husband, I really don't talk to anybody every day. Like,
yeah.
And that language, colleagues, like, yeah, I have a problem. It's my problem. I own it. But I have this problem where I always think my peers and colleagues are my friends, and I always think my friends are my family. And so then it's like,
I don't think that's a problem.
Like,
that's not a problem. But I literally worked with somebody who would say to me, we are not friends, we are colleagues. And I'm like, but I spend more time with you than anybody else. And this man was in his late 60s, and he would keep saying to me, we are not friends, we are colleagues. Basically, stop telling me what's going on in your life. And I was like, no, because I'm here with you for 10 hours a day. This is what's happening with me. So yeah, so maybe I overshare in some areas, and I'm not very good at boundaries. Sometimes I am, and other times I'm just not. I'm transparent. I put everything out there, and I even got attacked by somebody energetically, and they said to me, you're giving me all the information I need, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, because I'm open-hearted and I share. I've got no agenda. Here you go, you want information, take it. Right. So she couldn't believe that I was just giving this information freely. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
those are really good points.
Yeah.
I taught a lot of kindergarten, and when I did my teacher training, I was like, in our classroom, everybody's friends. And it was like, no, we're peers because we have to earn friendship, So it was just like all these lessons bouncing back to me. So yeah, these conversations are really important.
Yeah, so we after the conference, what's your next big thing?
Well, Rosie and I are relocating, already starting to plan for the September conference and December. September conference is called Falling Consciously. Look at my cheat sheet here. It is September 19th, and then Season of Dreams, December 12th. I would like to have an in-person conference, but it kind of depends on when I'm moving. And really escalating the energy medicine, because in my book series, it's predicted, and I've never made predictions before, but things are starting to unfold now. So in the book series, it's just a matter of time before I don't even offer services to the public, because my services are going to be, I call it an energy exchange, but really it's to show appreciation. People who, volunteer their time to be in the conference, people who are speaking, that kind of stuff. I provide them with my gemstone readings. And Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness, that very language, Project 30, there's 30 of us. So I don't know who the other 30 are, but we get together and this is what we do. So we work as one big group of 30, we work as two big groups of 15, we work as, you know, groups of 5, and so I'm really excited. So if anybody out there is like Project 30, and like if you feel in any way, shape, or form like this is the soul tribe, it's not a coincidence, you're tuning in, and the dragon's out, it's released, it's alive, the energy. I don't own the dragon, and thank goodness Age 4 Gina is in charge of it.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and I'd like to publish more books too.
Yeah, this has been so good. Thank you so much for joining us. It's
Yeah,
been
you're
really
welcome.
awesome.
Thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to the conference. I have not finished my presentation yet, but I will sort everything out. I've been working on my Breakaway Oracle card deck, and I'm in the last week before I put that into publishing properly. So, and then it's full steam ahead on the conference, and I'll get everything sorted for that. And I'm looking forward to doing that. So this is so good. Thank you everyone in the chat for collaborating with us. We appreciate that. Thank you for your questions, and I'll see you guys. I do lives every day at like midnight Eastern if I can, but it's Friday night, so I try and do at least 5 a week, early mornings, and then generally we do this kind of evening feel good Friday. So it's great that you could join us on our Friday, which is usually a weekly wellness check-in, and we have a lot of fun with our kind of gatherings. We get together at Anchorhaven, and when we're not at Anchorhaven, we're over on Typical Skeptic generally, so we kind of like, you know, which is like my second home. So yes, you can always find me over there. So thank you everybody for joining us. Have you got any last wise words of wisdom for the group?
Nice words of wisdom. Shine your light, believe in yourself, and dare to dream. Come dream with us. Your soul tribe awaits you. The Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much.